In today's Leeds news, new contract for youth, Ampadu on captaining Leeds, interest in Longstaff, and clear out and summer plans begin to emerge. Morning folks, Jer here, Wednesday morning the 20th of March with your Leeds United news. Hope you're all having a really good week so far. Couple of bits to get through. It's the international break, it's pretty thin on the ground. We've got a couple of streams lined up for later on in this week. Keep an eye out for Thursday for the mental health stream and Friday for the Youth Academy look with Jerry McDermott Friday evening. So we'll get some additional content there for the international break. Keep you ticking over. Also the one a week, it's a Wednesday, so if you like the channel, if you want to help support the channel and help it to grow, whether we agree or disagree on opinions, Leeds is Leeds, news is news. But if you want to see the channel grow and help it to grow, you can do so by subscribing or liking the video and sharing and commenting. All that kind of stuff helps. Right, let's crack on and move on. We'll start off with some good news this morning, and another youth prospect has signed a deal at the club, and young Leeds prospect Sam Chambers has penned a 2-year deal at the club. The 17-year-old will now be contracted to Leeds United until 2026. The 2-year contract length is again due to the player being under the age of 18, and the maximum amount of time that they can sign for is a 2-year deal. Chambers has represented Scotland at youth level as well and has been in fine form for Leeds United this season, underage as well. Player we'll probably talk about a bit more with Jerry towards the back end of the week, but very much an exciting prospect to keep an eye on, as well as a lot of that current under 17, under 18 crop are as well. Big game coming up for them. 5,000 tickets have already been sold for the under 18s semi-final game against Millwall at Ellen Road. You can check that out on leedsunited.com if you want to go and support them in their FA Youth Cup quest. I always say it, the FA Youth Cup is a very good barometer for future success of youth players. Whatever about the current crop of youth players that were brought into the club, having these players coming through at a very young age as well is always a good sign that the academy is working, that things are going the right way behind the scenes. And hopefully you can pick up 2 or 3 from that side. The last great Leeds young side that came through was the David O'Leary era, and a lot of those players came from an FA Youth Cup team as well, so one to keep an eye on. Moving on to current players, and let's talk about Ethan Ampadu, who is one of several internationals who's currently on international duty and has been speaking to the media. This is a great opportunity these times during the year. It's not great for content creation, but it's very good from a perspective of actually getting to hear from the players, because with the championship rules around press conferences, we don't tend to hear an awful lot from the players before games or build up to games, but we do get to hear from them when they are talking to press with their nations. Ampadu was asked about the topic of being Leeds United captain in their recent press conference, and he basically said that it was a privilege and an honour to have captained the side, but he has shared this with some very important players this season in Liam Cooper and Pascal Stroke. On the role itself, he said the following: "It's been a massive honour, a massive privilege. It's something I've enjoyed. You feel the responsibility, but I've shared the dressing room with Coops and Pascal." He went on to single out Cooper, saying, "Coops has been an amazing captain for Leeds United throughout the years, and he still is. So it's nice to have those people around the dressing room to bounce off of. It's really important." We talked this year at the start of the season about the experienced players and the benefit of having them in the dressing room this year with a younger side would be to pass on experience and lessons that they have learned, good and bad, mistakes that they have made, pass them on to the younger players to try and help them to not repeat the mistakes that they may have made during their early parts of their career, as well then as passing on advice in situations as well. So coming into the run into the season, it's going to be very important to have the likes of Patrick Bamford, the likes of Liam Cooper. I would have said Luke Ayling, who's gone out on loan, but those kind of players around the dressing room who've been through a promotion campaign. Pascal Stroke's obviously been through a promotion campaign as well, Ilya Melia as well, a bit younger, but those kind of players to basically help the current batch who may not have experienced that before to get over the nervousness and the adrenaline that can kick in when you're in a race to the end, which we very much are. So yeah, brilliant. Ampadu also finished off by saying that playing for Leeds means a lot to him, and that he hopes that is shown and reflected back towards the fans. We talk again an awful lot about the players that want to be at Leeds and the players that came in last year who wanted to play Premier League but not necessarily play for Leeds as their number one. And I think looking at players like Joe Rodon, like Ethan Ampadu, like Connor Roberts, the Welsh lads that have come in, Dan James as well, you can see all of them give everything when they're in that shirt, and it's very important. The fact that they want to be here is something, but the fact that they believe it means an awful lot to them to be at the club is huge as well. Moving now into the back end, and we're talking about some rumour territory stuff here. So this is very much in the rumour mill at the moment. There's 2 stories floating around that kind of back up the same story with some more detail as well. The first one is Leeds' interest in Newcastle attacking midfielder Sean Longstaff. According to Leeds United News and according to Now News, Leeds have a potential interest in the Newcastle box-to-box midfielder. The report states that Leeds are looking for a goal-scoring central midfielder this summer, and his box-to-box style is something Leeds may want. It goes on to say that Longstaff has fallen down the pecking order slightly at Newcastle, and with returns of Sandro Tonali expected, that's likely to increase, and his minutes haven't been what he would want as well. The 26-year-old is in the final 12 months of his current deal at Newcastle, and it doesn't look to be a deal on table just yet. He is very, very much still a fan favourite in Newcastle, and very much a local lad and liked as well. The fact that Nick Hammond has a history there, I think this is where this link might come from. It could be again an agent trying to drum up a better contract for the player. Like there's clubs like Leeds sniffing around him, give him a new deal. He's only got 12 months left on his new deal. There could be elements of that, or could be a genuine interest. He is a player that can score goals. He is a player that can score spectacular goals from midfield as well. Leeds probably lack that a little bit at the moment. Archie Gray is probably seen as the long-term option there as well, but having somebody in the interim that has Premier League experience and now Champions League experience, which Longstaff has, might be important. But I do think it's probably just a connection to Nick Hammond, if I'm being honest. But the final story today connects back to this as well, and this is a clear out of Leeds United, and summer plans are starting to emerge a little bit. According to News Now, they say that Leeds plan a massive squad overhaul this summer. We've heard this an awful lot over the last couple of months. This is a big summer plan should they get promoted, but if they don't get promoted, there is still a plan to overhaul the squad in the Championship as well. A number of players' time at Leeds United might be coming to an end permanently towards the end of the season, and a couple of others maybe on a short-term basis as Daniel Farke starts to rebuild the squad in his image and what he believes Leeds will need should they get into the Premier Division. In the article, it claims that Sean Longstaff and Joe Rodon are the first two and will complete a £30 million double swoop for the club to get them in the door. They say that the Joe Rodon deal is a formality at this stage unless something major happens with the player, but you never want to jinx things, so touch wood and all that. But it also goes on to say then that Sam Greenwood will likely follow the likes of Leo Kjelde, Lewis Bate, Cody Drama and Ian Poveda out of the club this season at the end of the year, with likely a move for him away from the club. Not confirmed whether it'll be a move to Middlesbrough or not, but it does say that he is likely to move on for sale in the summer. The clear out of the former Leeds United under-21 squad has continued. It's been an awful lot of them this year. Just the players that just didn't hit the heights that was expected of them as well. Players like Joe Gelhardt and Charlie Creswell are also name-checked as well as players that may go out of Leeds on loan should they get promoted in the Premier League, which is probably the best for both of them, especially Creswell. Creswell needs to go out and play games on a regular basis. Leeds getting back to the Premier Division might help him to do that as well. Joe Gelhardt's really struggled this year when he has had opportunities to get back into the side. He's had back problems, he's been ill, there's been lots of different things that have really kind of stopped him from getting any kind of opportunities this year as well, but he might get them towards the back end of the season if the injury situation with Rutter's a little bit worse. I mean, Pirro moves up the pecking order, Joseph moves up the pecking order, might give Gelhardt more crack at that as well, but they're players that need games. If Leeds get promoted, they're very much likely to go out on loan next season. So hopefully they're on loan, not permanent ones, especially with the Creswell situation. I do believe there's a really good centre-back in Charlie Creswell, and I do believe Leeds need to be careful about how they handle this. And, he's got a 5-year contract. Loan him out. Let him get games. Don't be selling them just yet. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see who goes out on loan permanent. But there's been a lot of players already gone out. I mean, that's only a couple. Leo Kjelde, Lewis Bate, Cody Drama, Ian Poveda, Sam Greenwood are a couple. You'll see the end of time for Liam Cooper. You'll see the end of the contract for Luke Ayling as well. They're likely to move on from the club at the end of the season as well. So, and then all the exiled players that are currently out on loan as well. A lot of them will go as well. Actually, be shocked if all of them don't go. So that's a lot of players that will leave Leeds this summer. There'll be a big squad overhaul and then see what comes in next season. Leeds will need to strengthen that bench next year if they're going to have any chance of being comfortable in the Premier Division. Going up with the team we have right now, the probably 11 to 13 players we have are probably good enough to be in and around the squad in the Premier Division, but to be regular starters or be a really strong option from the bench, Leeds will need probably a slightly better calibre of player in and around it, whether it be starting or on the bench. A lot of people saying yes, they were with Calvin Phillips fit in the team if he came back in. I think that's where he fits in as part of that squad. Another midfield option in there gives you a second option in the sitting defensive midfielder. Ethan Ampadu's done very well at centre back. Leeds might stick with that. A lot can happen, but they will. I think we saw it the last time. Just because the squad goes up and does well, maybe the first year, you've got to look at strengthening that squad and continuously strengthen that squad. And we can get attached to players, which is understandable. But we do need to look at strengthening the squad in some key areas as well, and make sure that bench is much stronger as well. And that's going to be it for me today, folks. As always, massive thanks for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and I will be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. See you then.